Look at this single crumpled €50 bill. It is the absolute only barrier standing between me and 30 days of complete painful starvation. My refrigerator is completely empty. There is no milk, no leftovers, and absolutely no safety net. Just cold steel and the low hum of desperation. To survive a whole month on this tiny budget, I must limit myself to exactly 166 cents of food every single day. But walking through these bright fluorescent supermarket aisles, the brutal reality of modern inflation hits like a physical blow. Prices have soared everywhere. The luxury of choosing what I want to eat is entirely gone. Every single cent must be tracked, calculated, and weaponized against oncoming hunger. I must pass by the fresh produce, the meats and the cheeses. Today my only allies are cheap, high-calorie staples that offer maximum survival value. First, I grab a massive bag of white rice. It is pure carbohydrate energy, incredibly cheap to buy and heavy enough to fill the void. Next, I reach for dried black beans. No canned goods are allowed. The metal packaging costs more than the food inside them. Every penny counts. Plain rolled oats will be my breakfast, my lunch, and sometimes my dinner. They are incredibly bland, but they keep the stomach quiet for hours. Then I find the ultimate prize, a cheap carton of eggs, crucial protein and healthy fats, but the price is dangerously high for my budget. Standing at the register, my heart hammers heavily against my ribs as the cashier slowly scans each item. The digital price counter ticks upward. €14, €22, €38. My fingers tighten around the remaining crumpled coins inside my pocket as the anxiety reaches its peak. The register screen finally stops at €48.90. I have exactly €1.10 left to my name. I walk out into the cold grey afternoon carrying one thin plastic bag. I survived the first hurdle, but the physical test is just beginning. Day one is a harsh lesson in raw humility. Dinner is a plate of plain boiled rice with a tiny pinch of salt, no butter. The chewing quickly becomes mechanical and lifeless. You do not eat for pleasure anymore. You eat purely to keep your heart beating another day. Day two brings a dull, persistent headache that clouds my thoughts. My body is screaming for sugar, for caffeine, or anything familiar. I force down a thick bowl of watery oatmeal. The texture is heavy, sticky, and entirely lifeless, but it provides the necessary fuel to continue. I stare at my dwindling pile of cheap food. The basic math of survival is simple, but the mental toll is incredibly complex and exhausting. By day three, my body has somewhat adjusted to the low calories, but the lack of nutrition is starting to play tricks on my mind. Every single meal becomes a countdown. Every egg is a precious unit of life-sustaining energy that absolutely cannot be wasted under any circumstances. I sit down at the kitchen table to recalculate my remaining budget for the next 3 weeks, searching the crumpled receipts for errors. That is when the cold dread pools in my stomach. I realize I completely forgot to calculate the local sales tax on my receipt. I rummage through my pockets, desperate for spare change. The cash is completely gone. I am already in the negative, bankrupt on day 3. With trembling, weak hands, I reach into the cold refrigerator to grab the remaining carton of eggs to prepare my meager dinner. Time suddenly slows down. The cheap, flimsy cardboard slips from my numb fingers, tumbling helplessly through the empty, cold air. A wet, sickening crack echoes through the quiet kitchen. 5 days of precious protein are instantly ruined on the hard tile floor. I stare down at the yellow mess splattered across the floor. There is absolutely no money left to replace them. None at all. If I cannot stretch what little dry rice I have left for the next 27 days without starving, I will fail this experiment. And the punishment for failing this challenge is brutal. I must go completely hungry, with absolutely nothing left to eat for the month.